Over the past 4 videos, we spoke about mindset, we spoke about setting smaller and larger intentions and goals, we spoke about putting in aligned action to start getting that momentum going. And in the last video, we talked about how to create and what options do we have to create multiple income streams so that we don't need to worry about always selling the original art or always selling prints or whatever other offers we have. On today's video, we will dive into how to put yourself out there. What kind of options do you have and how best use them for your art business. Hi, my name is Soullana. If you haven't been to my channel before, I am a single mom and a full-time professional artist, and on my channel I share everything around art business, personal development, and I share tips that can help you grow your business. I am also involved in NFTs and Web3 space, so if you want to learn more about that, stay tuned because there will be much more coming in the future. Now let's dive into today's topic. Let's first touch on a little bit more traditional approach of in-person marketing. What are the options that you have? Things you can explore in traditional marketing is markets and events that are local to you. It's great way to spread the word about your art and about your personal brand. You can also visit local cafes and restaurants. They often use artwork to decorate their spaces, but at the same time it gives an artist an opportunity to showcase their work and even make it a sales point. Of course, then we have local galleries. If you have any galleries around you, that's a great way to have a look what type of artists they represent, and maybe you can find a gallery that suits your style or that you really like that you could approach and ask for a little bit more information when you're just starting out. And lastly, you could approach magazines. They often have a section that is dedicated to art. You could try that also as a way of promotion. All of these really depends on where you're located and what your preferences are. You might not be in a town or a city that can offer you all of that like me. Then you have to refocus your marketing more online. So I can't tell you what the right way for you is. So I'm giving you options that you can explore and ideas of what's out there and what you could utilize to your advantage. Now let's dive into the more digital world of self-promotion and self-marketing, and that's, as a first one, obviously social media. I have my business 99.9% based on social media. I am one of those artists who wants to work completely remote. I don't want to be tied to physical spaces because in the future I would like to travel. So I will give you examples of what I am using and what's working for me, and at the same time explain you different and show you different options that you have that you can utilize for yourself. As I said before, this is your individual journey. I cannot tell you what's the right thing for you to do or which social media is the best for you, but I can show you all the options you have and I can give you suggestions. Social media is a place where you get to share who you truly are and what your art, your creations are all about. This is where you build your relationships, your connections, share your work, share your story, and be vulnerable and be real. This is what builds you a community or a following of continuous supporters that you can nourish through your social media platforms. Before I dive into the concrete medias, I would just like to note that you don't need to have a large following and a lot of people on your social media to achieve a good amount of sales or enough of sales for you to live off. Okay? So you just need to nurture and provide value and build relationships and trust with your community so that your followers convert into supporters and fans that want to see you succeed, that want to hear your story, that want to see your art. Okay, it's all about creating value, offering authenticity, because we already have enough of fakeness in the world. So what really works and a true connection is when you are vulnerable and truthful with your audience. This is where they can be relatable to you, relatable to your story, and therefore connect to you on a different level, which builds trust and brings sales at the end. Now let's have a look at what social medias I'm using currently. My main platforms at the moment are TikTok and Facebook. And I know what you're going to say, Facebook is dead, but it's not dead for me. Funny enough, my biggest and most supportive community actually lies on Facebook. I've built it over the years. It's full of artists, creatives, free thinkers, spiritual people that I connect with, and we are kind of on the same level, like-minded, and therefore Facebook actually drives most of my sales at the moment. But that said, I also share there a lot of videos that come from TikTok. So TikTok for me is a platform where I create and give value, where I showcase my work, when I can speak about the topics I'm passionate about, where I can share tips and tricks that help me, that might help other artists. So I use it as an added value. Whereas on Facebook, you can see more of my personal life and the happenings behind the scenes. I also have Instagram and Twitter account simply because my NFT community is stronger there. So there's a lot of Web3 space going on Twitter. So if you are planning to dive into NFTs, then that is your place that you should focus yourself on. It also gives you access to a brand new community. And Instagram, I reshare things from Facebook and Reels from the TikTok, so I kind of reuse my content. I'm personally not a big fan of Instagram, but that's just how I am, and it doesn't mean that for somebody else it cannot work. If it's a nurturing platform, so similar to how I use Facebook, where you can interact with your community. Now I recently added YouTube, so as you know, and that's simply because I find it very helpful to create a larger piece of content and then break it down into smaller pieces that I can use on TikTok, for example, or on Reels. So YouTube for me is a place where I am building a community and providing value that also connects to my members club for artists, where I give additional resources to what YouTube provides for free. And lastly, I would like to mention Pinterest. If you don't use it, I'm not going to say you have to use it, but Pinterest is very interesting because it's not a social media, it's actually a search engine, which means that your content of value can be searchable just like a Google in Pinterest, and it actually drives a lot of traffic. It's so much easier to gain traffic on Pinterest than it is, for example, on TikTok. So from there you can then redirect your audience to whatever you want to, if that's website or your other social media challenge or your blog or whatever it might be. So this is something that is worth looking into. And for those of you who are in the US, and I think also in Canada, you can monetize your Pinterest after you come to a certain amount of followers, which is another great way of monetizing the content that you are already doing. So monetizing the work that you are already doing for free. So as you see, there is so many options out there, and you can really just go with your gut. Go with what feels good to you, not what other people tell you. So even though I might say that TikTok is very important and you should really consider doing it, that it's not a 100% truth for everyone. And if it doesn't work for you, if you don't like it, don't do it, because it's better not doing something and refocusing that energy into some other media that it works better for you, than doing it halfway and then not really being passionate about it. It's going to show and it's not really authentic. So stick to what feels good and put all of your intention into that, and really focus on developing a community there. Now, obviously, social media, it's not the only option you have online. What other ways could you explore self-promotion online? Let me give you some examples. So online, you could also explore galleries, metaverse. If you dive into Web3, you can go to digital magazine, digital art publications, and different art competitions. All of these can create additional exposure for your business. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe and put on the notifications. Comment below, ask your questions away. I'll do my best to cover all of your topics. And don't forget to share it with somebody who might need it. Stay tuned for the next week, when we are going to dive into the best practices for social media. So I hope to see you next time, and I hope you have a fantastic week.